The best things within yourself never come out until you stretch yourself. Your gifts, your talents, your anointing will never come out until you stretch yourself. You find out what's really in you when you stretch. How many people want to find out what's really in them today? How many people really want to find out how much God has been putting in their life before they were ever born? When God created you, He put stuff in you. When God formed you in your mother's womb, He said He knew you before He ever formed you. He was already putting things into your heart. He was already putting things into your life before you ever knew. But sometimes it takes a stretching for those things to come out to the surface. And I'm not talking about stretching for your own reasons. I'm not talking about stretch here and there for that girl, or stretch here and there for that guy, or stretch here and there for that job and this and that. No, I'm talking about stretching for God, having faith for God, for the things of God. Faith says, I'm not going to run when it gets difficult, but I'll stick it out, trusting that God brought me here for a reason. When David met face to face with Goliath, God was working in him, and he was trusting in God's plans. He was trusting in God's timing, and God brought him somewhere. He brought him to a battle. David could have said that this isn't my battle, I'm just a kid. He could have came up with all these excuses, and it would have been the best excuses out of everybody there at the battle, because he was really a kid. He was really a teenage boy, a little boy. And he could have said, man, this isn't my battle. I'm a little boy. I don't know nothing about war. God is using me as a shepherd. I'll probably always be a shepherd. I'll probably just go back home and tend the sheep and act like nothing's happening. But when God brought him to the battle, he seen a need. And he said, God, if you need somebody to stretch their belief and put faith in you, then I'll do it. And he began to believe in God for it. He said, what does somebody get for killing this uncircumcised Philistine? He was beginning to stretch his faith, saying, man, I've done things like this before. And this guy, he's a big giant. And then, I'm a little boy. And naturally, it looks a little bit weird physically. Like I might not be able to do it. But with God, I know if I stretch, that God could meet the need. I know if I stretch, that God could be able to help me. I know if I stretch my faith, then God would begin to meet the need. Because I remember back when I was fighting lions and bears, man, he might have been a little bit scared, but when he began to stretch his faith, he realized, man, God's faithful when I stretch my faith.